The divisional previews are brought to you by Chinook Seedery, the best seeds ever. Use our promo code CoachesSonsPod at checkout to get 10% off. On to the show.
Hit it.
Welcome to the Coach's Sons podcast. My name is Andrew.
I'm Chris.
And this is our divisional preview series. We are going to talk about the NL West, or as people are starting to call it, Dodgers.
I thought you were just going to say the NL best. Honestly, that was in my head. So I kind of zoned out for a second. And then you're like, yeah, Dodgers. Like, oh, okay. So that makes
Burying
sense
the
for sure.
lead there.
So whether this is your first one, I don't even know which number this is going to be, your first one, your sixth one, or anywhere in between, we're going to start with picking our first and last place teams, and we're ready to be convinced. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're not going to spend a ton of time on the opening for this one.
No, we're not.
In that it very much feels like the Rockies are undoubtedly the worst team in this league or in this division. And unless you have some sort of crazy argument, I don't think anybody's going to not take the Dodgers to win this division.
I mean, we're looking at this division is so top heavy and bottom heavy. Like the Dodgers could win 100 plus games. It's very realistic. The Rockies are going to lose 100 plus games. Like that's how big the discrepancy is between the top and the bottom here.
37 games separated the Rockies and Dodgers last year.
Like that's ridiculous. Like that's how big the gap is here. I'm not fighting you on any of that.
Okay.
So, Ohtani obviously being the main name.
I'm excited to see him pitch.
Yeah, about to
if
say,
that happens.
and the reason is because we want to see him pitch if he does.
He gave us 50-50. That's said and done. That's old news. But that's last year's news. Dude, what have you done for me lately, Shohei? Right? God. No, I want to see him come back and pitch. Obviously, they have no reason. We're going to talk about them ad nauseum here in a minute.
Yeah.
But obviously, they're not going to rush him along. They don't need to. There's no need to do it at this point.
Zero need, sir.
I'm not going to be convinced. It's Dodgers first, Rockies fifth. I can be convinced on anything in between.
I was about to say, the fun part of this is Diamondbacks, Giants, Padres. Yeah.
Is going to be your middle, and I'm ready to hear it. I want to hear what goes on. And I hate to say it, I think the Dodgers have almost made themselves injury-proof with this particular team.
Oof. I mean, I want to fight you, but I can't. Like this team is so deep, and they keep adding pieces,
and everybody's trying to. It's an arms race. Everybody's trying to keep up. Diamondbacks made some good moves.
Yep, they did. Giants
made a couple moves in there. I off the top of my head, without looking, I don't know exactly what the Padres did. In terms of moves, I'm going to be surprised probably when I see it. Where are they?
I mean, they got Profar's gone.
No, nothing too crazy.
No,
they lost a lot more than they
Padres.
got. That's for damn sure. But they still have some star talent. So I'm ready to get into it. What do we think?
Okay, let's do it. I mean,
are we just saying? Are we going to pick somebody other than Shohei to be the star player?
Nope.
Okay. I mean, come on. Let's pick somebody. I'm going to go. Oh, hang on. I need to look at his numbers from last year. Yeah, I'm going Fernando Tatis Jr.
I would say Tatis. Yeah,
I think
I'm with that.
Not that he's breakout, not that it's surprising, but I just think he's going to. We're going for health this year. He's going to be healthy, and he's going to turn it on.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Burns in Arizona could. Try to be Cy Young level, you know what I mean? Like, so we'll see. But yeah, I think Tatis is the right call.
Right, and then the rest of them are all Dodgers. Yeah. So with that said, let's get started on the previews. I think I'm more interested in the previews than to hear what we have to say pre and post because it's pretty self-explanatory. Our first team is the Dodgers. So you're going to hear us here in a minute on the backside of this clip.
That's incorrect. That's incorrect.
I don't know alphabetical order.
Diamondbacks.
See, I was wrong either way, Dbacks or Diamondbacks. Jesus Christmas. All right. I stand corrected, and this is why I haven't been introducing them. I've just been throwing names out there. I tried to pull a little switcheroo.
That's fine.
We're going Arizona Diamondbacks. This is from our friend Aaron Hughes. You've seen him on the show a couple times. So at Aaron R. Hughes, writer for Diamondbacks on SI. Let's see what he's got.
Hit it.
Hey listeners, it's Aaron Hughes here from Arizona Diamondbacks on SI, and I'm excited to talk some Dbacks baseball with you today. Last season, the Diamondbacks won 89 games, a 5-win improvement from their 2023 record of 84 wins, which took them all the way to the World Series. Even though they improved, so did the National League, leaving them on the outside looking in when it came time for the playoffs. Still, Mike Hazen went to work, adding Corbin Burns, the top free agent pitcher on the market, to a record $210 million deal. He also added first baseman Josh Naylor to replace Christian Walker, which will be a massive help with left-handed power. He brought back Randall Grichuk and even extended star shortstop Geraldo Perdomo. There will likely be a small drop in offensive production after they led all of MLB in runs scored, but starting pitching will definitely improve, with the addition of Burns, a rebound season from Zach Gallen, and hopefully healthy seasons from Eduardo Rodriguez and Merrill Kelly to back it up. They also have incredible depth with Brandon Pfaadt and Ryan Nelson, as well as young talent and pitchers like Gilbert Diaz, Cristian Mena, and even more behind them. Gabriel Moreno and Corbin Carroll will also hopefully have more healthy seasons, with Carroll already crushing balls in spring training so far. The bullpen's also been revamped with the addition of Kendall Graveman, who missed all of 2024 with shoulder surgery, but with his arm feeling much better now, he's expected to be ready to go for the start of the year and will make a great back-end addition. Dre Jameson, who also missed all of last year with elbow surgery, is also back, who has a 4-seam fastball, a 2-seam, a slider, a changeup, and a fantastic curveball. All pitches that make him an incredible back-end candidate and a super exciting young arm to watch. The bullpen of Justin Martinez, AJ Puck, Kevin Ginkel, Ryan Thompson, Kendall Graveman, Dre Jameson, Joe Mantiply, and more should make an absolutely fascinating bullpen to watch and a super exciting group of guys who have incredible stuff. The expectations for the Diamondbacks are higher than ever. After adding Corbin Burns and all these other guys with incredible talent, as well as MVP finalist Ketel Marte at the top of the lineup, really the sky's the limit, but with the Dodgers above them, it's going to be hard to beat those guys. So I wouldn't necessarily expect them to try and contend for that number 1 spot, but they're definitely going to be fighting out to try and make the top wild card and maybe even give the Dodgers a run for their money. Who knows, but with the Padres and Giants lurking below them, no lead is safe in the NL West, and I'm excited to see what the Dbacks can do this year. Go Snakes! Check out our content on Diamondbacks on SI. Glad you guys had me. Peace out.
Hit it.
Thank you, Aaron, so much for your input. Listen, I actually really, really like the D-backs.
I agree.
I think that their pitching staff is exceptional. I think they have a lot of really good talent over the plate and in the outfield.
Offensively was the word you were looking for.
Yeah, that's all I got. But they're in the same division as the Dodgers. You know,
I mean, he said that. I think you could still be excited.
Yeah,
and not
it just
know you're going to win 105 games.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's nice is it's baseball. So, okay, we're not going to win as much as the Dodgers all year, but we can beat the Dodgers in a series, right? And so that's really what it comes down to. Like, you don't have to keep up with them throughout the year. You just have to be good enough that when it matters in 7 games, you can beat them more than they beat you. And but yeah, I mean, look, the addition of Burns is huge. Or I think that Gallen can be amazing. Obviously, I mean, that staff is good. The one thing I will say, Aaron's very knowledgeable, has a lot of great feedback. He's excited about the bullpen, but you know what I didn't hear? De facto closer. You're going to do closer by committee. We've seen over and over and over again that does not work. So the Diamondbacks have to find a closer, or they're going to struggle all year. Like, you need somebody that's dependable. He said a lot of names that will back end, but that's not closer.
They've
back
got
end's
2.
Good. It's not closer.
They've got 2 though. It's Justin Martinez, who's a flamethrower. He's about 23,
yeah.
And then AJ Puck, who they got last year from the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those 2. So I think it's I don't think.
go to Puck and see
I
if
don't think they're
Martinez can be
going
something
completely
better.
by committee. I think it's between those two guys, and I think they're going to let Martinez compete for the job. In what I understand, in the limited time he had last year, to give it a go, he didn't really perform that particularly well.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to give him another run. Let him see what he's got, and if so, he'll take it over. But at the same time, Puck, I believe, is a left-hander, so he will. I think they'll be able to play matchups. How about that? While I don't love it, it's still kind of by committee. I think that's better than what you assumed it was.
I mean, I guess that's fair. Like,
It's not a full-fledged, we
Yeah.
got 6 guys. No,
Yeah.
it's between them two. Somebody's going to take it, I think, you would hope by mid-May. Somebody is the full-time closer. But maybe it doesn't work out, and then we got some trouble. So, yeah, that hurts when you're needing to close out baseball games against some of these better teams, especially those better teams that you're going to see more regularly than anybody else, being the Dodgers, Giants, Padres, Rockies.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
should
yeah.
win every game. But yes, they have the makings of a very good baseball team.
yes. I mean, Marte is amazing. Carroll, we know, can be phenomenal. He had a sophomore slump, but seems to be turning it around. Like, there's a lot of good things about this team. Third base Suarez is over there. You can't sleep on that guy, right? So
I like him.
Former Mariner, right?
Yes.
Yep. There you go.
Never should have gave him away. But
Never should have gave him away. I hear you. So it's a good baseball team. It really is. Now, did he said they led the league in runs scored last year?
Yeah.
That's okay. I
And
mean, look,
they-
you can't
Yep.
you can't scoff at that. That's a very impressive thing, and that you have to do that to be able to keep up with teams like the Dodgers. So
And they won 89 games last year and
Yep.
missed the playoffs. They were on the outside looking in because they tied.
because of the Padres, yeah.
No, they were behind the Padres by 4. The Braves and Mets both had 89 wins. So they were on the outside looking in. I'm assuming all the tiebreakers. So again, there's your tiebreaker. Something broke down there.
Yep.
But what sucks is, hey, we won 89 games and we didn't make the playoffs. That's tough.
Yeah, that's a
So because 89 wins is 55%.
yeah.
That's pretty solid. You give me 89 wins as a baseball team, I'm pretty pumped. However, as a fan, you're like, well, we didn't make the playoffs. We didn't do enough.
Yep.
So I think, offensively, Aaron pointed out, they lost some guys. They lost Christian Walker, who's good offensively and defensively. Jock Peterson was lost as well. I don't care about Josh Bell. Paul Sewald at the end, he kind of was iffy last year. But they brought in Josh Naylor. So pretty close replacement, generally speaking. And yes, the number one addition for them is Corbin Burns. And he was arguably the most coveted pitcher this offseason via free agency. Crochet, probably the bigger one around the league.
Yeah.
But via free agency, all you had to do was pay the guy and you got him. And they did. Who they beat out for it, I don't recall. But that's a big move. That's a big time move for this team. They've shown that they're not afraid to spend money.
Yep.
If you remember, they signed Eduardo Rodriguez. They signed Suarez. They got Jordan Montgomery. So as much as that Jordan Montgomery thing isn't working out
Not
for them,
working out at all.
they paid the money is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
that's
They're
fair.
willing to spend sometimes in the wrong
He's in
spot.
their bullpen now, right?
He might make the... It depends on what they do and how he looks this spring. I
Crazy.
haven't looked.
Yeah.
So if so, he might just be a long reliever type guy.
Yeah.
I think they're going to keep him around just in case they need some sort of innings eaten.
Yep.
Oh boy. We don't care about spring training stats.
We don't care.
However, he has thrown a third of an inning, faced 6 batters. He's given up 5 runs. He has an ERA of 135.
So doing great.
So I'm sure that they would love to just cut him. I don't know how that would work. They probably just want to at least get something. Maybe he turns it around. Who knows? So I'm done talking about Jordan Montgomery. That's negative.
Yep.
Positive, they've got a good squad. Corbin Carroll turned it on at the end of last year. Had a slow start. I think he was a little bit banged up. And I'm hoping to see that he is completely healthy. And even when he wasn't at his best, he was a 3.4 WAR player. So get him in full health. They're going to be fine. As we said, Ketel Marte, stud, statistically the best second baseman in baseball.
Yep.
unfortunately a little bit better than Ozzie statistically at this particular point, but he's carrying the load offensively. Suarez had a redemption in the second half, almost didn't do well, but he's
Turned
good.
it on.
He
Yep.
could get you 25, 30 home runs. Naylor in Arizona now. Let's see if he could break out and become what he needs to be. I was confused by the Perdomo signing. I don't know. Do you hear that noise? That beeping? What is that?
I think that's my computer.
Okay. I had to stop. We're keeping that in because you're fucking with my head
That's
right
fine.
now.
Yeah.
But anyway, where was I? Perdomo. They love this kid, and I still haven't. I'm about to right now. I mean, he had a 3.5 WAR last year. That is more than I thought. I think a lot of that is defensively, but they gave him a pretty lucrative deal. And they have Jordan Lawler coming up the ranks. And I was just unsure of why they did that. But Perdomo's only 25. Sure. Lourdes Gurriel, he's going to start. He's fine. Serviceable baseball player. Jake McCarthy, very good. Came on last year. He's a Scranton boy, so always going to root for him. Hope he continues to stay in the lineup. And then they're kind of just going to piece it together. Randall Grichuk, Pavin Smith might DH. Who the hell's the other guy? Alec Thomas, the other one. So lineup's solid. It's not the Dodgers, but it's a very solid lineup. And the rotation is where their money's made. You said it.
Correct. 100%.
Whatever order you want to put Burns and Gallen, I'm fine with. I'm assuming they're going to give Gallen the ball on day one, but maybe they don't. I don't know. Gallen Burns. Merrill Kelly is old, but maybe he can turn back the clock. Eduardo Rodriguez still has some of the tank, and everybody loves Brandon Pfaadt. So I think rotation-wise, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, Pfaadt's the future for sure.
I hate to say it, it's not going to be this way until maybe May, June. They need to have their focus on the rest of the league, the rest of the National League, in terms of who do we have to stay above. And the answer, you shouldn't be scoreboard watching, go win your games, but you have to be aware when you're playing whatever those tiebreakers are, if it's National League or Interdivision, whatever that is, go win those games.
Yep.
You need, you're playing the Mets, go.
Got to beat the Mets.
Play like a playoff series. We need this series. You're playing the
Phillies.
I mean, Phillies,
Braves,
Mets, Braves, those types of teams.
Cubs.
Even in your own division, even the Padres. You need to take those.
Giants, maybe.
You need to take a little step up, play them harder than your normal, dog days of summer, August 1st baseball game, because that might be, I don't know the reason they missed the playoffs, but assuming record-wise, there was some tiebreaker that screwed them. What that was, I don't know. So I like them. I want them to succeed. I changed my tune on them since they went to the World Series, and I wasn't, I didn't pick them, right? I want the Rangers to win. But now I'm like, you know what? Let's see the Diamondbacks do well, because now they're up against the Rangers times 15 and the Dodgers every year.
I mean, I think at this point, everyone's pulling for the Diamondbacks over the Dodgers. I mean, there are only a select few of people who live in LA that actually pull for the Dodgers, or bandwagon jumpers, I guess, technically. So, all right, Diamondbacks, we like what we see. So we already know it's Dodgers top, Rockies bottom. We're trying to decide the middle three. So let's move on. Let's go ahead and get this one out of the way. It's the Dodgers.
I tried to. You didn't let me. All right. We've got our friend Michael. He did it for us last year. So Michael with the Dodgers, his @ on X is @RealMichaelC_.
Hit it.
All right, Dodgers season preview. I'm not going to sit around and bore you with details or stats or anything like that. I mean, because what hasn't been said this summer, on paper, this might be one of the greatest teams ever assembled from top to bottom. Baseball's a weird sport, but there's no excuse for the Dodgers not to win things. Between the amount of money we've spent, the talent that's on this roster, it's all there for this team to go and repeat and win another World Series. I mean, heck, with most of the rotation back healthy now, like you had guys like Snell and Rasaki, you've got a squad that is going to be significantly better than the one that just won a World Series in 5 games. You've obviously got your superstars like Betts and Freeman. You've got your heart guys like Teoscar and Kike. There's no excuse for this team, and there's not going to be one that flies if the Dodgers don't win a World Series this year. The biggest question mark, though, is how will the team handle this new kind of pressure, and can they stay healthy? We have a full season World Series now. That was kind of the thing that was hanging over the organization, was like, they couldn't win one. They couldn't win one in a full season. Well, you've got that now, and that target there's a giant target on our back, and it's not going to get any smaller. With the things like the amount of money spent in the summer and the amount of talent that's there. But can the Dodgers stay healthy? The team last season won a World Series, and it was a great team, but you look at the pieces that were there when that team got to October, and it wasn't anything approaching what it could have been. So the next step up from winning a World Series and doing it like we did last year is staying healthy and winning even more games. Last year's team was great, but can we keep it together and somehow be even better?
Hit it.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. So short, succinct, and spot on. What I'm looking at as I have been through this entire thing, the notable acquisitions, notable subtractions, and the list of acquisitions is just long because I remember this offseason of just any time a passing notification came across for a signing, it was Dodgers this, Dodgers that, Dodgers this, Dodgers that. You're like, how? Like how do they even have any money left? How is this working? So bringing in, let's back up. World Series champs. Easy. Baby food, right? The Padres had a chance. They didn't get it done. But
toughest team they played in the playoffs, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, it was. Right? So they had a shot. They didn't get it done. The Dodgers go on to finish it off. And then they go and add Blake Snell, Roki Sasaki, one of the most heralded pitching prospects to come over from Japan. Tanner Scott, left-handed stud reliever back in bullpen. They got another Korean player, a Korean player, Hae-Sung Kim, who was tagged to a bunch of other teams, including the Seattle Mariners. We couldn't get him, God forbid. Kirby Yates, who had a resurgence last year. Michael Conforto, who was with the Dodgers last year. And that's about it. They brought back Teoscar. They brought back Kershaw. They brought back Blake Trinan. They brought back Kike. They did lose Walker Buehler, Jack Flaherty, and Gavin Lux. But I would say that all the 19 guys that I just named add a little bit more to what's going on. And we talked about at the beginning, you're getting Shohei Ohtani back on the pitcher's mound.
Oh, the plight of being a Dodgers fan. It must suck to be like, oh, man, this team.
And everybody's mad. You could be mad, stay mad, do whatever you want. They're just deep, man.
Yeah.
They're able to do whatever they want to do. Tony Gonsolin's like their sixth starter. Dustin May, who actually had a great showing last year, and he's always hurt. I think last year was a super freak injury for him, so hope all is well with him. But Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki, Tony Gonsolin. Shohei, forgot about him. God forbid.
Kershaw. Did you say Kershaw?
I don't think he was even on that list. Kershaw. And then you name the guys that hurt. Gavin Stone won't even throw a pitch this season. They've got guys in the minors coming through. Like they're just everywhere, man.
It sucks. The Dodgers,
Kershaw.
they're full of studs, but they also have a good freaking
farm system.
Farm
system.
They what the hell, man? Like it feels unfair. It feels
and they
very
seemingly
unfair.
know who to keep and who not to keep.
Yeah.
Right. Like they get rid of. They're becoming the Rays in a way of, hey, if they're willing to give you these prospects, don't take them. Because every prospect that they keep, my Outman hasn't been great. He had a flash of the pan, but like all of these guys, they're using these guys, and maybe they are developing them enough. And once they leave the Dodgers bubble, they're no longer worth it. I don't know, because they have a ton of guys. I'm in that deep fantasy league. They have just a ton of guys that everybody loves. I don't know who the hell they are, but they're 19 years old. They're a top 50 prospect. Like, okay, sounds good to me. Eddie Rosario's there, unbeknownst to me.
Nice.
But don't forget, they still have Bobby Miller, who's not good, or hasn't been good, but is able to just hang around everybody and figure it out. He's not feeling any pressure to be like, hey, we need you to be our fourth starter. He's under no pressure to have the time to figure it out. And you know what he might be able to do? He'll probably transition to the bullpen, become a Michael Kopech, and just be a star.
Yeah.
Michael Kopech was garbage for the last 5 other teams he was with. With the Dodgers, he's magically a golden arm reliever. and again, lineup, read it down the Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, call it age what you want. Teoscar, Tommy Edman, what's that? NLCS MVP Tommy Edman to you. Max Muncy, Will Smith, Conforto, Kim, Kike. They're just everywhere. Chris Taylor, Austin Barnes. I know I'm naming Austin Barnes as if he's a stud, but it's just they're so deep in every single spot. And they spend money and they do not care. They made their team better. How many teams win the World Series and are like, wow, we need to add more guys? Not many of them.
Yep. And they added a lot of guys.
Yeah, and they got better.
Look, it's interesting. I see a whole bunch of people, content creators specifically, that are like, hey, baseball is hard and teams hardly ever repeat. And you shouldn't get so caught up in the fact that the Dodgers are so good because technically that doesn't guarantee anything. I'm sorry. The Dodgers look to be, I don't want to say unstoppable, but pretty close, man. Like this team, and like I don't have to rehash everything you've already said. This team looks terrifyingly good.
Yep.
And it is not only their division to lose, it's their league to lose. It's the World Series to lose. Like everything is the Dodgers' favorite by a bazillion.
The target is on their back. I forget who even said that. The target is on that team's back. Mm-hmm. They have to do everything.
They do.
Right.
I mean, I think people are going to be disappointed if they don't like break the most wins in a season. Like that's how good this team is.
They won 98 last year. I'd be hard pressed to say
that 100. Yeah, I agree.
I just don't.
Unless they start resting everybody.
But again, as I said. I think that division was more in hand than it ended up, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm making that up.
At no point did I feel like the Dodgers did not have that division.
Correct. And they have the ability to withstand injuries, right? Freddie Freeman isn't even 100% healthy. There's rumors he might not play back-to-back. He might not play, or not baseball. Sorry, baseball. He might not play day after a night.
Yeah.
He'll take an extra day off here or there. So like Freddie's going to be, for lack of a better word, load management. I don't love that. However, if you're a Dodgers fan, you're like, yeah, sure, catch you in October, Freddie.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
If the answer was, hey, Shohei is going to give us, I'm going to make it up, 4 innings a week. But in October, we have, be like, yeah, sure, I don't give a shit. Right? Like, I want all my guys ready for September, October.
Yep.
And then that's it. Yep. And that's how I feel like the Dodgers are going to operate. It's going to be a ho-hum type thing most of the season. Hopefully they don't get, as long as they don't go ho-hum, right? Where it's like, they don't win. They lose a couple straight. They kind of fall back into that 95 range. Then then you get a little dicey. But I don't see it. I think they're going to get 100, and everybody's going to be mad about it. But God damn, they're one of the best teams ever assembled, and they didn't get any worse.
Yeah, no, they got better, and that's such a scary thing to think about.
They're the Warriors with Durant. But when they added Durant, you're like, oh shit. Like okay,
are they going to lose a game? Probably not.
And they didn't. Yeah. They arguably didn't, right? Yeah. So
unbelievable.
That's just how it feels, and that's not to say Blake Snell is Kevin Durant, but it's just we already won. We didn't even lose. We already won, and we added Roki Sasaki and.
Like 2 elite pitchers, probably.
Yeah, they're a problem.
I am not.
They're not
happy
going
about
nowhere.
It. All right, everybody knows Dodgers are on the top.
Dodgers are 1, and nobody's mind's changing.
All right, I completely agree. Now let's move on to the Giants.
All right, we've got Eric, who's doing our Giants preview here. His ad is at Eric with a K, so ERIK_DA_Sean SHAWN. So good Lord, at Eric ERIK_DA_Sean SHAWN. San Francisco Giants. Let's see what we got.
Hit it.
What's up, fellas? Eric Sean here, if you need my name. Lifelong Giants fans, ready to give you my official season preview. The Giants have had, in my opinion, a pretty good offseason and spring training so far, so I'm slightly optimistic as things stand. We finished 4th last season in the NL West, which hurt my soul, but I think things should be getting more interesting this season. So let's break this down. Here's what we know. Some of the key additions, Justin Verlander was massive. He's going to give us some leadership and some stability in the bullpen. Willie Adams, or as we call him, Dominican Jesus, is going to give us some more defensive prowess in the infield. We've seen some impressive showings in spring training. Carson Seymour got 2 good innings against the godless Dodgers. Matt Chapman seems pretty hot at the moment. Kyle Harrison doesn't appear to be an absolute waffle on the mound right now. So with everything I've seen so far, here's my official prediction for the season. The Giants go 3-12 in their first 15 games. Their only wins coming on a sweep of the Mariners. After that, they're going to bring in Nomar Garcia-Parra as a special advisor to work with Bob Melvin and to help make more informed decisions. And then when we get to the Brewers on April 21st, dude, Mia Hamm is going to throw out the first pitch. Did y'all know she's married to Nomar Garcia-Parra? That wild. Anyways, I think from there, we're going to go on a pretty big tear going, 25 of the next 34, win those games. Season from there is probably going to be up and down. But my one big thing for this season to be on the watch out for is I think the Giants are going to bring in Russell Wilson from the Pittsburgh Steelers after he's released in week 8 of the NFL season due to poor performance, which is right there on line for the playoffs. Russell Wilson, however, will never play for the Giants because there's going to be a miscommunication with his agent. Russell will think that he's going to the San Francisco 49ers or the New York Giants, not realizing his agent was talking about the San Francisco Giants. It's going to be the top story on ESPN for weeks. But overall, I look for the Giants to improve on last year and be in a hunt for a wild card spot. So my official predictions, 83-77, putting them behind the San Diego Poppies and the Bums in LA. Appreciate it, boys. Hit it.
All right, so that may not be a real preview, but that is a good friend of ours. That is our buddy Clay. He is Captain Jesus9 on Twitter/X. He wanted to be a part of the show, and frankly, none of the Giants people came through, so we agreed to have him. I did not tell Chris, so Chris is fully surprised by all of this. Chris, where are you at, buddy?
During the whole thing, you told me this was your buddy. And the whole time I was like, where the hell did we find this guy? Like, what is he talking about? Like, and then
Mia Hamm got into it.
Nomar got brought up, and I was like, okay, I guess. I was like, I thought Nomar was closer to the Dodgers, and I was like, well, I guess they brought in the Buster Posey thing, so it's like maybe Nomar's friends with Buster Posey that I don't know about. Like, I was very, very much like, all right, again, something I didn't know. And then when it got revealed to me, I was like, well, that's bullshit. Like now we got nothing. So a bit of a humor. I was not in on this. I'm shocked. It was very surprising, but still funny nonetheless. I don't know even what else to say. So
I mean, he tried at the beginning, talked about Verlander, talked
he did.
about
I'm
the
surprised
evil Dodgers.
He the Willie Adams thing had me thrown off a little bit, and I was like, okay, but that's fine. I was like, maybe he's just joking, and that's how he pronounces his name, I guess. But moving past that, let's try to talk Dodgers. Or good Lord, see, it's always about the Dodgers.
It's always about the Dodgers.
Let's try and talk Giants a little bit here. They signed Justin Verlander. I'm indifferent. Who knows what the hell?
He's old. Who knows what there's
similar to the
like Scherzer thing. Yep.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he's got some stuff left in the tank. He is at a pitcher's ballpark.
Yeah.
So maybe his numbers end up a little better. I'm going to do something really quick because I want to see. He's got 3,400 strikeouts, 262. I was curious if he was like near a big milestone.
Right.
And 3,500 strikeouts is a lot, but I don't think that's like a thing.
Yeah. We're career wins, like the
262.
So
he's not
getting that.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So
okay.
I was just curious if he was Mr. 3000ing us at all.
Yeah, exactly.
But good signing for them. He'll draw a little bit of a crowd. But Willie Adames was a good deal. 7 years.
It's a huge pickup
for them. I like it. Now they did lose Blake Snell, so that hurts. They lost Conforto, Taylor Rogers, Mark Hanna. I'm indifferent on any of those guys. But listen, our boy Eric didn't do much to convince me to take them out of, the spot that I wanted to put them in the beginning.
Yeah.
Now, their pitching's okay. Robbie Ray's kind of on the comeback. He should be healthy all year. You know what? What's crazy? We brought up Kyle Harrison, too. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Kyle Harrison has not had a good spring. Had a poor showing last year when he was supposed to, be the guy. And he has not been good this spring. So that could hurt, his stock if he doesn't really, make the rotation. But Logan Webb is as solid as they come. I compare Logan Webb to Freddie Peralta. They're not flashy, but he's just going to get the job done. He's an ace. Right. And depending on what team he would go to, he'd maybe be your 2, but he's there, ace, unheralded, they're uncontested. And then it's Robbie Ray, Justin Verlander, Jordan Hicks. I'm not convinced that this team is all that good. The back end of their bullpen, they found Ryan Walker towards the end of the year. So he kind of turned it on. Doval just fell off a cliff. I don't know if he finds it again, but Walker's supposed to be their closer as of right now. What else are we looking at? They've got some young talent. So I am infatuated with Bryce Eldridge, first baseman. I watched him hit a couple bombs in spring training. He might only have one, but it felt like a couple, which is how far he hit this one that I saw.
It just kept going.
Yeah, he's very good. They've got some pitching. Carson Wisenhut, Hayden Birdsong. Birdsong might take over for Harrison if Harrison keeps screwing around. Yep. So they've got guys. They've got some guys coming up. As far as major league players, lineup wise, Matt Chapman
very good.
Say that again.
Young Ho Lee.
Correct, and he was hurt for a little bit last year.
Agreed.
He's still only 26. I thought he was way older than that. Julio Ramos turned into a solid player. So they've got a core, Matt Chapman was very, very, good last year.
Yeah, very good.
Lamont Wade, not a household name, but he's going to bat leadoff from how I understand it.
Yep.
Patrick Bailey, their catcher, had a very good offensive year. So a good, very much not great team.
Yeah.
Borderline okay team to me. And I'm going to jump out on a limb before we even get to the end, and I'm just going to put them 4.
Yeah. I think that they need a lot of things to go right to do better than that. Experiment Jordan Hicks, because wasn't he a closer? Now they're trying to make him a starter, right? If he hits, that's great. If Verlander has a renaissance, as you were to say, and come back and pitch well, it's a pitcher-friendly ballpark. That could be very good for them. So, but the lineup just really isn't there right now. So I think I'm with you. The problem is the Padres are also struggling because of the whole ownership thing. I'm interested to see what our preview is. By the way, no more fake previews.
Okay, thank you. I lied. I procured the remainder, so I know.
Yeah,
that
for a fact they're
this
not.
is why I procure all of them. This is bullshit. Can't believe this happened.
Yeah, you're
under
welcome.
my watch.
Yeah,
I'm furious.
It was hilarious. So we have the Padres next. So, Chris, who's the Padres, and we'll go from there.
Padres. We've got Ben. He is from Talking Friars. So at Talking Friars, Friars, and Ben's handle is on Talking Friars X, so you'd find him there. But let's see what Ben has for us.
Hit it.
My name's Ben Fadden, host of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show, and the Padres are going to be entering a pretty interesting season. Obviously, last year, some may think that was going to be their best shot because they were so close to knocking off the Dodgers. They had Tanner Scott. They had Jurickson Profar having a career season. Fernando, obviously, hitting in the postseason. Jackson Merrill with his performance. But this year, it's still going to be interesting. There's still talent on this team. How are they going to replace Jurickson Profar is a question, but Tercer Ornelas is someone that's been in the organization for a long time. I believe the longest tenured Padres player, at least in the organization, not at the major league level, obviously, but just overall. Him and Adrian Morejon, and those two guys will be some sort of factor in this Padres season. Morejon out of the bullpen with no Tanner Scott. He is now that elite left-handed reliever in the pen, so we'll see what he does. And then Ornelas, can he grab that left field spot with a strong spring, which is what he's having right now? And then there's Jason Hayward, who is going to be on the roster as a possibility in left field, but what if he doesn't perform? Left field could be up for grabs for someone like Tercer and Ellis or Eggy Rosario. As for the Padres' playoff chances, I like them. I think that they can get to 85-plus wins, maybe 90 wins. Don't know if they're going to win 93 games because a lot went right from guys that we weren't expecting to have, career seasons, or at least to that level that they did. But that could happen again this year. What if Xander Bogaerts can stay healthy and he has a Red Sox type of, Xander Bogaerts year? What if Jake Cronenworth tries to, can get back to the 2022 Jake Cronenworth? Manny Machado, I think this might not be talked about enough just around Major League Baseball in general. Manny Machado is healthy. He was not healthy, has not been healthy throughout spring training for years now. And so for him to have this past offseason where he could bulk up and get strong, and he is fully healthy in spring training, we've already seen him swinging the bat well, that's going to be big for this Padres team. I talk about how are they going to replace the production of someone like Jurickson Profar. Kyle Higashioka obviously is someone else that's not here anymore. Having a healthy Manny Machado, and he can hit you definitely over 30 home runs, maybe 40 home runs. And if Tatis can stay healthy, he in 2021, let's remember, he led the National League in homers with over 40 homers, and he was dealing with shoulder subluxations. So if those two guys can be healthy, and then Jackson Merrill, I don't think he's going to have a sophomore slump. This is not someone that is okay with just, let's just do what we did last year and I don't have to put in the work. No, all he cares about is what it seems like is getting better and trying to learn. And, I already view him as one of the leaders of this team, and he is not even, he isn't even in his second season yet. He's entering his second season yet. So we'll see. There's still talent on this team. There's talent in the rotation. They add Nick Pivetta, which was interesting. They've kept Dylan Cease. They keep Robert Suarez. They keep Luis Ariz. That's another X factor as well. Could be going for his fourth consecutive batting title. So it's still a good roster. And just ask the Dodgers in 2022, 2023. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how great of a regular season you have. What are you going to do when it matters the most in the postseason? Just because they won last year doesn't mean they're going to win this year. And that's how I would sell this to Padres fans.
Hit it.
All right, Ben, thank you very much. That's Ben from Talking Friars. Catch him on X there and YouTube. I think from what I've learned thus far, any team, a fan of any team, sans the Giants at this point, but fans of any team that's not the Dodgers are tempering expectations and saying, hey, we can still make the playoffs. The division might not be there because we're not going to win 100 games, but we get to that 9. It feels like 90 is the magic number. 89 was the number last year. But it's like, hey, we get to 90 wins. We can get in the playoffs. And then it is a crapshoot, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
You can make some noise. They did it last year, and the lights get brighter, and you get a chip in a chair in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens. So as far as lineup goes, they've got star power. Jackson Merrill, stud. Fernando Tatis, stud. Manny Machado, say what you want about him. He's a goddamn good baseball player. Stud. Luis Ariz gets on base a lot. It hits very well. Hits for average with some of the best to ever do it. Other than that, he doesn't provide enough nerd value, I'll call it.
Okay, sure.
The underlying stats don't like Luis Ariz.
Right, yeah.
So it's simple as that. Bogaerts, I like him. A lot of other people don't. He just hasn't been the same. Cronenworth, same idea. They did just sign Jose Iglesias, which was very surprising that he even lasted this long. So if he could make a little bit of noise for these guys, that helps. It looks like they've got a hole in the outfield filled by former Brave, former a lot of teams at this point.
Jason Hayward.
I can't believe he's still hanging on.
Dude, he's old.
He's been in the league for quite some.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember his debut when he homered.
Exactly. It was an electric debut for sure.
He's only 35 in the grand. I would have said he was older, but he's been in the league for a while.
Yeah.
He's been in the league 15 years. He came in at 20.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I didn't know much about him until he had mentioned it. What the hell is his name? I lost him here. I'm sorry. this Tirso Ornelas fella.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him at all other than he's 25 years old, been with the team for a long time. So they must have signed him, one of them, those like 17-year-old kids that they signed. So he's been around. Maybe it's his turn to figure it out. But it looks like they've got a hole, but they've got good players. Rotation is
really, really good. I mean,
solid.
you've got Cease still. You have King still.
Yep.
You Darvish
He could still sling
He
it.
can still sling it. And
You know
then-
his kid is playing somewhere right now,
did
like
not
at
know
a
that.
super high level high school.
Oh, that's cool.
Like
I did
one of
not
the
know
high
that.
schools you know the name of when you hear it. You're like,
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
You're like, yeah,
Yeah.
no shit. Oh, you know what his first name is? Shohei. I'm like 99% sure.
Nice. Okay, we'll have to look that up. We'll have to fact check that. But
will.
you know, he also mentioned Nick Pivetta, which is not a great pickup, but innings eater.
No, it is a good pickup. Pivetta is underrated.
You think so? Okay. Well, I mean, so if that's
we just named 4 other guys. He's your 5 starter or 4 starter.
he's your 4. Yeah, he's your 4 because it's Cease, King, Darvish, and then Pivetta. And so if that's your number 4, that's great. So
Yes.
And you know what's really interesting? For some reason, I just felt like, oh man, the Padres are taking a big step back, and it's because, you know, they're having a lot of ownership problems, that kind of thing. But I mean, you look up and down this lineup, like you've already mentioned, they look to be pretty threatening. You know, they did lose Profar, so they have to figure that part out because he gave them a lot last year. Granted, he gave them more than normally he's been able to provide. So, you know, hopefully one of these guys step up and really fill those holes in. But this Padres team, that's still the same scrappy, angry, exciting team. And, you know, if this ownership thing gets figured out, then maybe they add some pieces.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like
I hope they don't sell.
I do too.
Hope he stays there at least for the season. If they
Yeah.
don't resign him, whatever. But I hope they don't have to sell him off.
I mean, to be quite honest with you, selfishly, I want Cease to be a Brave,
yeah, no shit.
right?
Yeah.
But I do.
Okay, if he's not a Brave.
If he's not a Brave, yeah, keep him in San Diego. I go to San Diego once a year. I'm very partial to San Diego as a city, and so that team has a special place in my heart too. And I would like to see them play well. You know, I'm not going to tell you where my mind is as far as like two, 3, and 4.
We can wait.
But I'm definitely the whole division starting to take shape in my mind. So
you Darvish kid, Shohei, so no H. So
Okay.
not Shohei, Shoei maybe. That's
I think Shoei is probably correct.
Shoei.
Yeah.
But he plays for Cathedral Catholic.
okay, sounds familiar.
Yeah, like the minute I saw it, I was like, well, that all makes sense.
Checks
but
out.
so that was just to cut off there. But they've got a solid team. They have the star power, especially in the postseason. They proved it, right? Ben already pointed out. Fernando Tatis showed the hell up in the postseason.
Yep.
Right? These guys they've gone toe to toe with arguably the best team in the league.
Big bad Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers themselves said that the Padres were by far the hardest team for them to beat in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they keep that fire, and if they do, it'll be interesting. They won't win the division. Like let's call it what it is. It's the Dodgers.
I mean, we said nobody's going to, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. But the Padres, with those pitchers, with that lineup, with that chip on their shoulder, that's a scary team for the Dodgers to run into. So,
Yeah. Fernando
and to be
Tatis-
quite honest, I don't think other teams are going to be as scared as the Padres as the Dodgers will be. Because I think the Dodgers are like, oh shit, we can't let them get to us.
Yeah,
you
it's
know
like,
what I mean?
and because it's a division rival, we
Yeah.
see them so many times. They know what we're about. We know what
Yeah.
they're about. They're giving us our A game.
I think that team scares the Dodgers more than anybody else, and so I hope that they can live up to that moniker for sure.
Tatis in the playoffs last year, 7 games, 26 at bats, 11 hits, 4 home runs, OPS 1.5.
Good God. What? That was such a good run.
And it was like theater every time, right?
Yeah.
There were moonshots. So I hope that he could continue that for an entire season into the playoffs. Keep everything going on. I think they're going to be a good team. They have the ability to add. I think they have some pieces in the minors that they can move on from. However, it's that catch-22 of this team, because if they're not going to spend money, they shouldn't be trading a ton of their young guys. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to comment any further on the ownership stuff because I don't know what's going on.
We've talked about it enough.
But maybe, as he said, they keep that bullpen bolstered, and the rest of everything else makes sense. We're going to find out really soon.
Yeah.
And we'll wait for my official ranking, but they're in the conversation.
All right, awesome. All right, one team's left. It unfortunately is the team that everyone expects to finish dead last, potentially dead last in the majors when it comes to record too. Based off last
Second
year
to dead last.
yeah, based
Not
off
dead
of last
last.
year.
No.
I know, but it was close.
No, it was not. The White Sox won 41 games.
Oh, that's true. The White Sox. Oh, I forgot about the White Sox.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, all right, but let's
were down there.
Let's see if we can be convinced that there is something to be excited about with the Rockies. So who's going to try to convince us of that?
So we've got Shannon. She's at Love the Rocks with an X. So Love the ROX
Love it.
on X. Let's see what Shannon's got for us.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon, also known as Love the Rocks, here to share my thoughts on the upcoming 2025 Rockies season. So, let me just start with the fact that I was recently browsing BetMGM and I see that the over-under for the Rockies is set at 59.5. Now, I have to tell you, I think this sounds low, and I'm not saying we're going to be World Series champs or anything, although of course, as a passionate fan, dedicated season ticket holder, always hoping, frankly, learned through many years of following sports to never write the possibility off. But I am saying I think this team has the real potential to surprise to the upside, and honestly, fairly easily. This is not due to our great spring training. In fact, as I record this, the Rockies are 10-4, ranked third in the Cactus League. Who doesn't love to see it? But I really try not to read too much into that. I mean, if you guys remember Exhibit A last year, we finished second in the Cactus League. We still end up with a near season low record of 61-101. Rather, my optimism is centered around a few things. So number one, we have a lot of promising young talent with more experience under their belt. And in theory, more experience is better performance. I am super excited about center fielder Brenton Doyle and shortstop Ezekiel Tovar. Between the two of them, 3 Gold Gloves under their belt already, many more in the future. I also really like first baseman Michael Toglia. Last year, we were calling him the dark horse because it kind of felt like he came out of nowhere and just started doing better and better. That is a trend, in fact, I think will continue in 2025. Next, we have our pitchers returning healthy, and our starting rotation has kind of more of a veteran presence with its ERA hovering in the 3s right now, which is a remarkable improvement from last year. Obviously, they need to stay healthy. I am excited about number 1 prospect Chase Doliner earning a spot in the starting rotation, which I do think will happen. For closer, I think it's going to be Seth Halverson, but even if I'm wrong there's many talented people. Lots of ways this could play out. Next, we have Chris Bryant back and healthy. And I don't actually mean that a play on words. His back is healthy. He is back and healthy. The real question here is, will he be productive? Can he stay healthy? I'd love nothing more than to see it. And finally, we have many exciting prospects close to making their major league debuts. Lots of questions and possibilities about how exactly that could play out. Now, I have to admit here, I am not the best person to analyze who at what position at this juncture, because I, generally speaking, do not follow spring training closely. A lot of people find that weird because they think, because I'm always at the regular season games, super into the team, that I'd be like very, very into spring training. But truthfully, at this time of the year, I'm really charging up my energy getting ready for the season. I also think, generally speaking, people read too much into spring training, that there's not necessarily a direct correlation between how things play out in spring and how they go during the regular season. So I'd much rather just wait, watch, and analyze once it begins. However, it is a great feeling to know that there are many different options for multiple positions, and it really just kind of feels like no matter how that plays out, the possibility of good is really, really, really there. A few questions I have about the season would be who steps up and takes Blackmon's role. So when he retired last year, the team lost more than a good player. They lost a presence, an icon, a unifier, and I do think it is important that that role is filled. Second, can we strike out less? And boy, do we need to. We need to improve our productivity at the plate. And finally, and honestly most importantly, and like praying to the luck gods here, can we stay healthy? So if you have the pieces, that's one part. Keeping the pieces, that's another part. The bottom line, however, here is that expectations for the Rockies are pretty low. And I get it, like past precedent kind of has been set. But really, guys, we only need a couple of these things to go right to surprise to the upside. I do think that is going to happen. So if you're asking me to make a prediction for the season record-wise, I'll just tell you the bet I have my eyes on. On BetMGM, plus 475, for the Rockies to win 70 or more regular season games. So if you're not super familiar with sports betting, that means you bet $100 to win $475. I do think that's going to happen. I expect the Rockies to win at least 70 regular season games this year. In other words, take the over. On the fan side of things, guys, follow me on X. I will be doing lots of fun sports merch giveaways throughout the 2025 season. I love spreading the Rockies' joy to fans in other states, even other countries. One of the things I've always appreciated about sports is the way they allow you to bond with people you might not have otherwise ever crossed paths with over your common love. And my goal is just to spread that joy out there, keep the good vibes going. So follow me there and get ready, guys. Let's have an amazing 2025 baseball season.
Hit it.
All right, Shannon, thank you so much. And I applaud you for so many different things. You know what you're talking about. Thank you so much. You want to spread the joy of baseball. I mean, it's Rockies baseball, but it's still baseball. Chris and I are on the same mission. We just want to build community, like baseball community. So welcome to our community, whether you wanted to be a part of it or not. So Rockies, I love that she's on the over at 70 wins. I don't think I can join her there. And the reason for that is, there's just not enough pieces. Now, I will say, I love some Tovar. And last year, the game we went to go watch the Rockies play, Tovar hit it out of the stadium. Like,
Yeah.
murked the ball. Like, he absolutely killed it. That kid's talented. I say kid, I don't even know how old he is.
He's young.
2001 was his birth. Yeah, he's
23.
He's a
He'll
young
be
kid.
24 this year.
So that's something to be excited about for sure. But when you look at the pitching, I mean, yeah, they're veterans. Their ace is Kyle Freeland. That's not good. And when you're in a ballpark like Coors where the baseball flies out, you need better than that. And I don't think they'll be as bad as they were last year. Especially if some of these young kids come up and really start showing that they can play in that field and not be intimidated. But I mean, 68 wins is the top end for me, and that's being optimistic if I'm being honest. So I love Shannon's point of view, and I hope for her sake that the Rockies do win over 70 because that'll be fun to watch. I just don't think it's happening.
Okay, well, based on Shannon's breakdown, here's what I'm willing to do. I might go lay a hammer on 59.5 or whatever that number was on just the general over under,
yeah,
and then a little sprinkle on 70, just a little,
oh, that's
like
fair.
a fraction
Okay.
on 70.
Yeah.
So hammer the original over.
Yep.
Right, the stagnant number, and then build it up for 70. So just make it up. You put 100 on the 59.5, and then throw like 25 on. And then we're good. And then
that's fair.
And then to hit 70, we win everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then
Yeah.
at 65, we were still right. She's not given 470 odds just for fun, and that's lock of the century. That's a little bit, but she gave us the big winner early.
She did.
So
yeah.
take that while you could get it. So I think that makes sense. In the way of they were bad, right? 61 wins. Losing 100 games bad, no matter which way you skin it. How much can they get that much worse? They were riddled with injury. Chris Bryant hasn't been relevant since he went there.
Yeah, correct.
Is he actually healthy? We've seen him in action in spring training. And the other thing I mentioned, or that she mentioned that I really like, is that she doesn't put a ton of stock into spring training. And I jokingly, but at the same time seriously, don't put a ton of stock in it either. You want to see your guys healthy. You want to see them hit, your pitchers be on the path to where they need to be. But if he's, goes in his second start and gives up 6 runs, I don't give a shit. Are the reports after that he's happy? Is he's like, hey, I threw it well. I hit my spot. I did this. Whatever.
All I want to hear them say is my body feels good.
Yes. Get yourself ready. Do what you need to do, because none of these numbers matter. It doesn't matter what the hell happens. Right? So I fully in agreement with her in that. I don't even follow it that, and here we are doing a national baseball podcast, and not even saying I see the home runs. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to talk about this guy hitting a home run, but other than that, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But to see Chris Bryant healthy, talk to me in May,
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But Tovar, the exciting guy. Brenton Doyle has a chance to break out, as she said.
Be exciting.
The heir to the throne, which is Charlie Blackmon, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He is hard to replace just from that level. Taglia, it had kind of a breakout last year. He's supposed to be pretty good. They got Tyro Estrada from the Giants in the offseason. He's going to replace Brendan Rodgers, and for them, Brendan Rodgers wasn't doing that much. So I think Estrada can, unless I'm wrong, let me make sure I'm not talking out of my ass here. But let's see. Yeah, Rodgers had a 1.1 WAR. That's easily replaceable. We can make that work. So again, going down the line, Nolan Jones had a breakout year 2 years ago and then fell apart.
Yeah.
Maybe he comes back a little bit. They're pitching. While there's not any huge names, they're veterans. Kyle Freeland, German Marquez, who was hurt all of last year, Antonio Sensala, and what we need to look out for are the guys coming up. Chase Dollander, stud. It's tough to get super excited about a pitching prospect coming to Coors.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
all right, man,
sucks.
we're ready for you. Oh shit!
Guess
Like,
what?
Here we got the Dodgers at Coors. Like, damn, right? But he's. Every report, every scout, every person that does dynasty sports is all over Dollander. So I find it hard pressed that everybody's going to miss on him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he can eventually overcome the deficit that is Coors. I'm excited to see Zach Veen. I hope he could actually make the roster, make a push. I sent it to you. He hit a couple like an absolute bomb.
Yeah.
Did a bat flip, the whole 9 yards. But he's been a little bit injured, trying to come through the system. So I'm hoping he can show up. So they have some ability to get better, and I do think that they can win more than 61. 70 is a stretch. This is like when you go to your work meeting and they're like, "What's your stretch goal?"
What's your
You're
stretch
like,
goal? Yeah.
What are you talking about? You're like, just let me hit over 59 and a half, right? Like, what the hell are you talking about? So her stretch goal was a little far. Reach for the stars, you'll end up on the moon, right? One of those types of things.
Yeah, I hear you.
And that's my goal. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna bet the over. And I'm gonna sprinkle on over
little salt on top.
Little salt bay.
Okay.
But I think I was convinced in that regard, and honestly, it was that good of a review because we thought we were just going like, Rockies, all right, they're last.
Exactly.
Thanks for talking, and all right, what do we want to do now? It's like no, like she didn't come out and say they're going to be the third best team in the division. They're going to be in the playoff. It's like, hey, we have
we are going to be incrementally better.
We have some steps that we could take to get better. Their bullpen. They don't know. She had an idea of who might go in. Halverson, I think she said.
Seth Halverson.
But it sounds like it could be a committee. Who the hell knows? But they win 70 games. That's the biggest surprise in baseball this year.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I hope they don't lose 100 games. I hope they don't finish what they did last year.
I hope, they're not going to pull like a last year Royals at all, right?
No.
They're not going to have those type of win jumps. But we have seen it in baseball where the Royals are a good example of not winning a lot and then really turning it on. They're not the Royals, but they can make jumps, significant jumps. Especially when you had a year that was as bad as last year. They do have a good young shortstop. They have good young shortstop, of course.
That's all I've got.
Yep, that's it. That's all I got. I like it. But I'm with you. I'm more encouraged, which is what we wanted to hear anyways. So, okay. Shannon, thank you so much. That concludes our NL West preview. So, Chris, are we changed on our top and bottom? The answer is no.
No.
Okay.
That was never changed.
I don't think that was ever going to change. All right. So, Chris, give me your 2, 3, 4.
From the bottom, Giants are 4.
Okay.
I said that I already preloaded that, but that's okay.
Giants for me are also 4.
Okay, they're 4. Padres, Dbacks 2. Padres 3.
I have Padres 2, Dbacks 3.
That's fine.
I think just like the NL East is going to be 5 games.
Between them two? Or you think between the Dodgers?
No. I think between them two. I think the Diamondbacks and the Padres are going to be within 5 games of each other.
That's high. They were tied last year.
I know, but to repeat that seems crazy.
We whatever division we said that was for 3 teams being 5 games.
Yeah, okay, so let's say, I'm going to say 3 games. They're going to be within 3 games of each other.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. That's why this part, it's hard to argue. Like, oh, they're gonna be second. Like, okay, well, here's the better question: do the Diamondbacks Padres both make the playoffs? From the 3 seed, do the Diamondbacks make the playoffs?
No.
I think the answer is yes, just because of how it breaks down.
No. The NL East is going to send 3 teams again.
Yeah, but they did last year.
I know. Exactly.
Oh shit! I miscalculated that. I thought, whoa, time out from the game. Time. He actually paused the podcast. I was just coming out of the dugout. I just needed to talk to my pitcher for a second. All right, we needed to use one of the mound visits to talk through it.
Okay, what's up?
I was under the, I know we talked about it in this podcast.
We did.
Oh, only one of the Padres and D-backs made it. I was thinking, oh, they both made it.
Nope.
I didn't do the math in my head. Okay, that changes a lot.
Yeah. No,
But
yeah.
screw it. Padres don't make the playoffs.
Diamondbacks don't make the playoffs.
But you okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm with you. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna see.
Yeah.
But I like this one because it was more contentious between 2 through 5, but I wish we could have had a more succinct conversation
agree.
about
Yeah.
one. That kind of
Yeah.
stinks. But it's the Dodgers. And the thing is, those who like the Dodgers are gonna love every second of it. Those who love incredible baseball, who want to see the best of the best, are going to love it. But then on the flip, and then you'll have your haters when they're doing their thing.
Everybody.
But then on the flip side, if they don't do, like, think of all the creatures that are going to come out of the woodwork if they fail.
There's going to be so many people that are going to be
I think that's
just
lost.
relish
I think
in
that's
their
lost on
failure.
everything that goes on, right? Because there's inherent pressure from every franchise, even the Yankees.
Yeah.
There's pressure to win a World Series.
Yes.
But when you're the Dodgers, right, and you didn't, and you're like, like, that sucks, but okay.
It is
But if you're
quite
the-
literally World Series or bust.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they don't win the World Series, it doesn't. None of this matters.
It's a failure of a season.
Nothing matters.
How wild is that? It's a failure of a season if they don't win the World Series.
And then,
Like, that's legit.
And then, like,
That's
go
legit.
backwards from there. Imagine not making the World Series, getting beat by the Padres in the
Right. Yeah.
Or, as you progress backwards, you're like, what if they don't make it? They run into just this streaky team at the wrong time, and it's just like shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Shohei goes, 1 for 10 in a series, and you're like, well, fuck. Like, I'm done. Like, that pressure is there. It's so hard on them, and I feel like every other team is maybe will realize that this year. Is like, we can play a little loose, because that's what the Padres did.
Yeah.
Right? The Padres were so loose. And then, but when it got tense, the Padres felt it. They're shit. Here they come.
Yeah.
Now we're playing not to lose.
Yep.
And I don't like when teams do that.
No, I'm with
but
you.
the Dodgers, they are going to play like that, but they've proven they can win.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing World Series picks in our opening day.
Yep.
But I'd be hard pressed to see that, if anybody else other than the Dodgers don't really make that conversation. But we've both got them winning. I'm sure a lot of other people do. Those odds, I didn't even look at the odds. They're probably ridiculous.
Stupid.
It's probably not even worth your money.
Nope.
Probably worth betting on the Padres and Diamondbacks and just hope for something. But what is the major takeaway? Rockies over 59.5. That's
Let's
my
go.
biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I think you're right. We were the most changed on the Rockies compared to everybody else. So again, everyone, please give a follow to all the folks that decided to give their time to us, except for our friend Clay / Eric Sean. He doesn't count, but all of their handles will be in the show notes. Give them a like, give them a follow. Thank you all so much for listening. Whether this is your first, second, or sixth Division Series preview, we are just happy that you're here. Until next time, my name's Andrew.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the Coach's Sons Podcast.